Oh, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, ladies. How's everyone doing? So happy to be here. It is March. I can't even believe it. My name is Taylor Thompson, coming to you live here in the She Network, where we share her excellence. And I have an amazing guest here today. And a lot of you probably already know her, love her, have heard her story. But I wanted to invite her in today because we have something to share with you all. So as you're coming on, let us know you're here. Let us know. Please say hi. We want to hear from you. So, Miss Christina Whiteley, how are you, my love?
Oh, I am so good. I want to make sure that you're doing okay. I hear it was quite cold in Texas. Are you guys surviving now?
Oh my goodness, like it has been really it's been quite a journey, to be honest with you. I
I'm
mean,
sure.
I, I feel very blessed to be really transparent. I feel really blessed to compared to other people and what they've still experiencing and still going through. So, prayers for Texas. But I guess God's hand and God's protection was surrounding us, and I feel very incredibly grateful because yesterday I think it was like 70 degrees.
Isn't it crazy? I remember it was like that in Toronto. I lived in Toronto for a while and I was a West Coast girl. So much like Texans, I was not used to that freezing weather. And so the first winter I went home, I didn't know to leave my tap on and keep the water running or else the pipes break.
Yeah,
And so I can imagine the disaster down there because you never have this kind of weather.
yeah.
Right. So I'm so happy that you guys are safe and everything is good. And now you're back to 70 degrees, right? I'm still here in a sweatshirt and a sweater.
It's crazy. It's crazy. So, ladies, as you're coming on, I see some you guys coming on. Ladies, let us know you're here. We want to say hi. We want to welcome you as we get into the conversation. We're going to share some what's working. But before we get into that, some things that we want to get into some stories. So, Christina, you've heard her story, you've heard her background as you've tapped into the She Network. But let's going to have some pretty kind of personal conversations today and share what's been happening with her and the journey that she's walked through the last couple of months. And she's been so gracious to come on and share and really connect with some other women that may have been walking through these shoes. So
Absolutely.
yeah. So let's talk about this a little bit.
Sure.
So we've got a lot of moms here in the group. We've got a lot of moms that probably would resonate and connect with this story. And so you want to take us through
Sure. So thank you so much for having me, Taylor. I really appreciate you and honor you for sharing people's stories this way, because this is how we heal and this is how we connect. So for those of you that maybe don't know me, the 2-second version of my story is that I used to be a hairstylist. I own my own salon and on-site wedding business. Very quickly realized when I had my daughter that I didn't want to work evenings and weekends. The other thing that was happening is the cost of business was going up and up and up. I was making less money and I didn't want to work more hours. So I got into network marketing and blew it up my first year. And I know that that's not typical, but it was something I was willing to work for. And over the past 5 years, my husband and I have totally created a different lifestyle for ourselves so that we could be at home with our daughter and live like we're retired in our 30s. And that's one of my greatest gifts to her. When I was a little girl, and you know how you ask your kids, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? When I was a little girl, I said I wanted to be a mom. That's what I wanted to be. And as I developed and got older, I wanted to be an entrepreneur, and there were things that were pulling at my heart. I wanted to make an impact. I wanted to help people. But at my core, I wanted to be a mom. And it's really cute now because we ask our daughter the same question. We say, Izzy, what do you want to be when you grow up? And this is my favorite answer. We did not prompt her, but she looks at us and she goes, Mom, I just want to be myself.
wow. Wow.
God bless you. Like, I am so grateful, my little girl. Like, I know I'm going to do something right with her because I'm just going to make sure that she is raised in an environment where she believes she can do anything.
Yeah.
I don't care if she wants to be a police officer, a firefighter, go to, work at NASA. Please don't go to the moon, but like, please stay here with us, but I want to support her in that way. And that's a very important, it's part of my mission. I'm here to help empower women and help them grow businesses and become financially sound and feel good about themselves and making an impact. But I'm also here to raise conscious kids.
Mm.
and to give them a leg up in the world. You know, for a long time, my husband and I talked about not having kids because of the state of the world. Like, look what we're going through. It is crazy right now. And do we really want to bring children into this? And through a few like very deep spiritual journeys and through, you know, having conversations with people that I very much respect, it came to light that, hey, it's just another hat that you're going to wear. And people like you need to have children.
Yeah.
We need to have people that are this conscious and that want to raise kids that are confident and self-aware and have emotional intelligence and feel that they can do anything, right? And so we're the right kind of people to have kids in this world,
Yeah. Such a blessing.
right?
Such
So I wanted to kind of set it up this way because I'm going to talk about something today that I have not talked publicly about. I'm sharing it in this group because I think that it's important because we don't talk about this a lot. But in January, I miscarried my baby at just over 3 months. And I wasn't expecting it. Everything seemed to be going well. I had all of the symptoms. We were so excited. I was going into an ultrasound, and because of COVID, you have to go by yourself. And so I was going into an ultrasound at my 3-month mark. I was like, yes, it's the day after my husband's birthday. We've got family coming. And the following week, we're going to tell them. Izzy's been keeping a secret since Christmas. We told her at Christmas. And that she was going to be a big sister because that's every day she asked me, Mom, do you have a baby in your tummy? Mom, can I have a baby brother? Like every day she wants a sibling. And I probably wouldn't even have considered another child unless it was something that she really, really, really wanted. I don't think she knows what she's asking for, by the way. Like, I think that that's going to be a different ball game when she has a sibling.
Yeah.
But you know, if something ever happens to Ryan and I want her to have somebody. That's the truth.
Yeah.
So, I have previous, and I want to be honest about this stuff because so many women don't talk about it and they feel this grief. And so what happened was I had all of the symptoms. I went in the day after my husband's birthday for this ultrasound. I was like so excited. We get to tell everybody now. It's going to be amazing. I walk in and sit there, and just the look on the girl's face, and I knew something was wrong. She didn't show me a heartbeat. She said, how are you feeling? I said, I'm okay. You know, I've been really nauseous. I threw up this morning, like whatever. And I had all of the symptoms. So I was so blown away. And she's like, I'm going to go get the radiologist. And I was like, what do you mean? And so she came back and she's like, I can't tell you anything, but I need you to call your midwife and I'm going to send these records to her. And so I knew something was wrong. I got in the car. I texted my husband. I said, I don't know what the news is, but it's not good. So I just need you to be prepared for that because I need to deal with it. And so I called my midwife. Within an hour, she called me back and just said, I'm so sorry, but you've lost the baby and you're going through something called a missed birth. And what happens to your body is your body still thinks you're pregnant. And so I'd actually lost the baby at 9.5 weeks, but I still had all of the symptoms. I still was going through that. I still, felt everything. And in that moment, I remember thinking, like, why is this happening to us? Why is this happening to us? I eat healthy. I do all the right things. Like, I don't understand, and I want to share with you that I've had a couple of miscarriages previous to this, but never this far along, maybe 6 or 8 weeks. I skipped a period. I'm like, oh God, like, is this what's happening right now? And so it wasn't as bad. I didn't have to go through any procedure or have to go through any of that. And for any of you that had to get a DNC or you've had to take medication and go through that process at home, I just want you to know that you are so much stronger than you think you are. And in those moments of difficulty, I just remember thinking, Christina, all you have to do is breathe. All you have to do is breathe right now. And I'm talking to you with a bit of tears in my eyes, but I'm telling you this story in a happy ending because I was saying to Taylor before, because she asked permission, of course, because she's an incredible woman, but she asked permission if we could share the story. And I said, yes, of course. But I wanted to share this from a place of healing as opposed to an open wound, right? Whenever we share stories or lessons, I think it's really important that you share them from a scar and not a wound. And one of the things about me is how I show up in life. And I show up in life in a way that I'm on to the next thing. I'm on to the next thing. Like, if this doesn't work out, I'm on to the next thing. I fail forward. Yeah. But I want to tell you how detrimental that was to me for a very long time because I didn't show emotion. and I didn't grieve ever. Ever. I'd always like, how were you? Like, I don't know if it was your, like, you were raised in a family like this, but I was one like that. My dad would be like, quit your crying or I'll give you something to cry about. You know, it was just kind of that generation, right? Right.
Okay,
And so,
like, okay, I know my generation's a little bit older than yours, but I connect with this on such a, level, and I don't know that I've ever shared this with you too, but, my first baby, was stillborn. And so, whenever you said that about going to the experience with your doctor and going, this was my very first doctor's visit. And they did the same thing. They have to go get the doctor, and I'm like, wait a minute, what's
why?
what's wrong? And I remember whenever you said that, it took me straight back to that feeling. And I know, ladies, like, and I know there's ladies, moms that are watching right now that have walked in those shoes. And immediately whenever you said that, they connected with you because they remember the heart drop or, their heart dropping, their heart sinking, that sinking emotional feeling. And, I don't know about you. I mean, obviously there was a difference in the time frames, but the connection that you feel that you like, is this reality? Is this really happening? Because you've already the connection's already made emotionally, no matter,
You're already setting up the crib and getting the clothes and like, yeah.
I mean, and so I don't see, this is what I see. So I'm not sure who's saying this. So please, you've got to give StreamYard permission, because I don't know who's saying this, but it says, yeah, me too. It brought me right back there. Been there, hardest thing ever. And it's such a feeling that I think so many women can connect to. But I love what you're sharing too from this side of it. Not from an open wound, but from a place of, oh, it's Sheena. Hello, Sheena.
Hi, Sheena. Thank you.
This, this place right here, because, and I don't know about you, and I don't know how, you walk through, and this is something that you might want to share. How did you get on the other side? How did you, go through those mindset? How did you break through those barriers of grief? Would you mind like sharing that? Because I think that's a really big piece of this puzzle from my journey.
Yeah. And even some people probably now that just related to me, maybe haven't even grieved because of how we are raised and what we're expected in society to just go along like nothing happened or whatever. And this is part of the reason that we don't talk about it. There's this odd shame that is attached to it, isn't there? That we think, what could I have done differently? What did I do wrong? And the truth is nothing. 1 in 3 pregnancies end this way, and they end this way for a reason, because if they continued, that child would not live. And this is just part of life.
Isn't it? It's like there's like a guilt, and there's like, okay, and then you start taking on that thing of like, could I have done something different? And I don't know about you. Okay, so, and it doesn't, I mean, you're so nice, so I can't imagine you ever feeling this way. But I mean, I remember I really struggled with this on the back end of it, because I was that girl who exercised and ate right and, didn't do anything wrong. So whenever I did see women that were pregnant and I saw them doing things that were, we'll say, questionable, I had I judged them. Did you freeze or did I freeze? Shoot. Oh no. Can you guys still hear me? You're lost. Am I lost or you lost? Shoot. Hello? I don't know if it's me or you. Okay, so give me some thumbs up, or what are we doing here? I don't know. It's okay. I'm okay. Or is it, can you hear me, Sheena? And it's just her? Did we lose Christina? Oh no. No. We lost her. Okay, so I'm going to keep talking till she comes back on. So, this is one of the things that, because we're talking about this, and, for those of you who are just joining on, we're talking about, losing a pregnancy. And, Christina is sharing her journey of that, being in that first trimester, the end of the first trimester, and realizing after going to the doctor that, that the baby is gone. Okay, I was like going, okay, is it her or is it me? You never know.
I know.
Okay, so what I was saying is that for me, like, I really, oh no, she's frozen again. Okay. She's gone again. So I'm going to keep talking till she comes back, and assuming that you can still hear me. So for me, this was like a huge part of my journey that I had to, whenever I would see women.
Me too. And is she?
Okay. So I can't hear you and you're frozen. Honey. Okay. Hello. Okay, so I'm going to keep talking, and she's going to probably go away and then come back on. Okay, so I had to walk through my own. I had to walk through my own forgiveness. I had to walk through, like, looking and not judging women. And I know for some of you, I can see, like, maybe you may have experienced the same thing. Whenever you look at women and you see, like, okay, they're pregnant, they're not doing the right thing. They're taking it for granted. They're taking something so precious for granted. And I really struggled with it for a really long time. And until I had to move past, and I had to let go, and I had to realize, I had to look for the silver lining. I had to see that space. I had to really hold space for women, just for the simple fact that they may not know what they don't know. They may not realize how precious, that life, maybe there's not any real dot connectors there. And so I had to let go. I had to really let go of that. But, talking a little bit about me until she comes back, there's so many women that have, are you there, doll? Can't hear you.
I'm here now. I'm here.
Yes.
So sorry. There's problem solving at its finest.
I know. Well, thank you so much. So I was just sharing some of the things, like, my mindset, some things that I wrestled with, some things that, that I had to get past, and forgiving women. And, whenever I judged them for not doing the things that I thought were the right things. So let's talk about you. And I mean, because this is January. We're just now in March. You're just such a bright, shining moment. Tell me where you are now. Where is your headspace now in this? Because you have Izzy, and and I would think that would be a harder thing coming on, because now we have this young, and now she's like, what's the baby? And now you have to have this conversation with her. How does that work? I didn't have to do that, Pete. How did you deal with her?
Thank you for asking. So I just kind of want to take you back, because both the midwife and the doctor, they called me and they told me multiple times that the baby was gone, that even though I felt pregnant. So I can understand why people sometimes go through the emotion of, like, is this actually happening? Maybe I am pregnant. I still feel pregnant, right? And so I understood at that point in time that was it. And then my brain immediately went to damage control, because when I got out of the car into my driveway, my daughter came running up to me and she's like, can we tell them now? Can we tell them now? And I'm just doing everything I can to hold it together. And I'm just like, can you just give me a minute? I just need a minute. I need a minute, and I'll talk to you about it in a minute. And to be honest, my midwife was incredible. And she told me how to tell her. And there are still moments that are, she said 2 days ago, she said, Mommy, I'm really sad the baby isn't in your tummy anymore. And I said, you know what? It's okay to be sad. Like, I was not prepared to have the conversation with almost 5-year-old on empathy, sadness, loss. Like, we're very lucky by the way that we live. We live on a farm, so you see life and death. We've lost chickens. We lost our dog a few years back. So she understands life and death. But to have that conversation about a baby in your tummy and all that kind of stuff, at least I didn't have to tell her how it was made or how it came out yet, like I didn't got to skip that part.
Blessings, right? I mean,
So I look at it that way, right? So what my midwife said, which was the best advice ever, was
yeah,
keep it simple
yes,
and let her ask questions. Let her fill in the blanks.
yes,
Okay. So when I came to her, I said, Izzy, I've got something to tell you. And I had tears in my eyes and I was crying and I said, I lost the baby. The baby isn't there anymore. And she didn't even say anything. She just started crying. And I just hugged her and I said, it's okay. Like, here's the thing is that my heartbreak wasn't for me. I know we'll have a baby. Whether my husband's adopted, like his brother just adopted a baby, we're meant to have children. If
yes,
we don't have a child, we will adopt another child. So it's a sadness and it sucks to go through that. The pain and the suffering of actually going through that sucks. It is terrible and you need to take the time to grieve. And I'll talk about that a little bit. But my biggest priority was managing this situation so that she learned some life lessons, so that she understood that it was okay to be sad, so that she learned empathy for me and I wasn't going to hide being sad.
yeah,
And that, that, hey, this was the message at the end. You know what? The baby isn't here. Something was wrong with the baby. The baby was sick. The baby's not here, but we're going to try again. You're going to be a big sister. And that was my message. And so she asked a few questions like, hey, is the baby in heaven with our dog Stella? Is the
yeah,
baby, is the baby sick? She was very worried that the baby was sick. I said, no, the baby's just not there anymore.
yeah,
And that's all I had to say. I didn't have to go into detail. I didn't have to go into all the extras and why, like, why should you at that age? The other thing that you talked about was how you felt about other women. And like when you're pregnant or when you've had a loss, or you want to be pregnant, all you do is see pregnant women everywhere
yeah,
and babies everywhere, right? Like it's just that law of attraction that's all you see.
yeah.
Well, one of the missing pieces to the story is that my sister and I were celebrating together. My sister is pregnant and was due at the same time. We were due 3 days apart.
Wow.
So
Wow.
my second concern after being emotionally stable enough, and I'll talk to you about how I got to this place of being able to handle my emotions, but like emotionally stable enough to be there for my child and to be there for myself. But I also wanted this to come across to my sister as, hey, this is a loss for us, but this is not a loss for you. There is so much joy for you. There is so much joy and love for your baby. There's no need to be sad.
This is so good because, she could have held so much guilt because, right, and because of the connection being sisters,
Yes.
all of
Yes.
those things, and grieving the loss of what could have been, cousins together, all of
I
those
know.
aspects, takes such a strong person like you to be able to walk through that. I want to go back just a little bit for, and not to make this journey about me, but really about maybe some other moms who maybe were a little farther along in the process that really had
Yeah.
to go through the birthing part.
And I did that too at home, right? Like I went through that process, not as far along, but you said you had a stillborn, right? So there's.
So I was, you talked about your midwife and, whenever part of I remember, them having to go through, I just wanted to escape, like emotionally, like I just need to get me out of here. And then, them walking me through like that I was going to have this baby and to go through all of the physical pain and to walk out and, you said something really significant, like you still felt pregnant. And I did. I walked out of there empty. Like I felt so empty, right? That feeling. And I know that there's probably a lot of, maybe some moms that really connect with that part of it. But
Yeah.
whenever you said you had a really great midwife, and I think back on those moments because I had Dawn, her name was Dawn, in a little, it was Little Company of Mary in Torrance, California. And the nuns that were there, nurses, they encouraged me to hold her. And, in the moment, you don't think that you have the capacity to do that. Like, you just don't know if you can emotionally could hold it together to do that. But I look back on that moment, and I'm so grateful that I had somebody like your midwife to coach you through the moment to get to the other side. Because whenever I think about, because that was my first time to be a mom, if I would have had that experience, because I look back on it, and I remember thinking, being grateful and thankful, like, Lord, if that's the only opportunity that I get to be a mom, I was the best mom ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, I mean, whenever you look through those, and you think the people that God puts in your path to care, that He loves you so much that He puts people to get you through the space and get you through the desert, right? And in that desert.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's so profound. It's so and that part right there, I look back and I'm forever thankful. And something that you said too, I mean, so we found out later that she had spina bifida.
Right.
And what a blessing that God took her, that she didn't have to go through life in that manner. And so one of the things that the books, because you mentioned Izzy, so he's like, you may be in the journey, you may know somebody in this journey. There was a book that carried me, and it was called I'll Hold You in Heaven.
Ah.
And so it may be a really great book to share with Izzy, because it's like, when you get there, you will know that baby. And it gave me such peace in my heart and peace in my spirit. So I hope that may serve somebody listening in. But so tell us about, like, I mean, you're such a strong woman.
I didn't used to be.
I know, but you're such a strong woman, because you had to walk Izzy through this. You had to walk your sister through this. At the same time, you were walking yourself through this. I mean, you're such a powerhouse. Such a powerhouse. It's amazing. Like, I have so much respect for you. So how did you, as you're talking through this process, how did you get to the others, on the other side of this in such a short time?
Well, it didn't happen overnight. Learning the emotional intelligence part didn't happen overnight. I didn't used to be a strong person. I used to blame others. I used to be angry. I was a very angry teenager. And what I've learned over the past 20 years doing personal development and having a really great therapist, like, look, if you are somebody that is going through a time of trauma, going to see a therapist is not a sign of weakness. It's actually a sign of strength, because you're asking for help and you care enough about the people around you to ask for help, and you care enough about yourself to get out of it. Right. And so I think that having somebody like that in your life, when I was talking to the midwife, as soon as I realized the baby was gone, I was like, what are my options? Just tell me what my options are. And she's like, I just want to make sure you're okay. Like, you need to grieve this. And it was really interesting because I went into business mode. Like, I went into, okay, this is the situation. Now we have to pivot. Now what we have, like, am I okay? Like, is my health okay? Like, what needs to happen here? Right. And so she said, Christina, you still have to grieve. Like, I understand that you said you're okay, but you still have to grieve. And that was my light bulb moment, that I was like, wait a second. My past behavior of shoving everything under the rug, pretending that I'm okay, not showing emotion is not going to get me through it this time. And a few years back, I had a tragic accident with my dog, who I loved like a child. She was my first dog before we had Izzy, and she passed away in my arms. And something triggered in me PTSD. I never knew that moms could live with PTSD. I thought like Army vets, Navy vets, like first responders, but I never thought that it could be me. And so a lot of us, by the way, are living with small traumas that have triggered various degrees of PTSD. Childbirth can even give you PTSD if you didn't know that, right?
Yeah.
So it's one of those things. And so when I recognized that I was doing the same behavior and I was pushing it under the rug, I was like, no, not today, not now.
This right here, Christine, like, I think this is what moms do really unconsciously.
They do.
Because they wear so many hats, they're serving so many people, and they don't think they have time to connect to that because it's too much. They don't have the bandwidth, and consequently do what you just said and shove it under the rug. This is such a valuable conversation. So the fact that you recognized it is
through therapy, though. I recognized it because of past therapy sessions and because it was my behavior that I would just shove it under the rug until one day I absolutely exploded. And I was a tornado and everybody was in my path. And if you were in my path, damn well you were going to get hurt. And I didn't want to do that to my family, especially when they were grieving too. My husband had to be there for me. And I called his mom and I was like, can you, like, we hadn't told anybody about this. And I said, can you, like, this is what's happened. Can you please call Ryan? I need him to have some support. I called his best friend. Can you please support him? Like, I'm calling in support for the people that are supporting me. I've always been the person that holds it together. But in this moment, I realized this needs to be my time. This needs to be what I take and grieve the loss of the cousins growing up together and having birthday parties together.
Yeah.
Right. Setting up the crib. We're still getting Izzy a bunk bed for her birthday. It's on Sunday. You know, all of the things that we had planned to move her bedroom and get it and set up the baby and all those, we still had to grieve those things. And there's still moments that she comes home and said, can I put on my I'm going to be a big sister shirt? And I'm like, not today, sweetie. But when you can, I cannot wait. And we'll put it in this special spot. And as soon as you can wear this shirt, I'm going to give it to you like a new gift. Okay. And so it's having those hard conversations. And sometimes I have tears in my eyes. Sometimes I don't. Right. But it's allowing yourself the emotional space to cry, to grieve, to be angry if you want to be angry, not at anybody in particular, hopefully not your husband, but like, to be just in it and sit in it. And you know what, there are moments that I cried and I know a lot of women don't want to cry. They see it as a sign of weakness. And I'm going to share something with you that my therapist helped me with. She's like, Christina, if you want to cry, she's like, first of all, it's a huge detriment to your emotional intelligence if you do not cry. It is a release of energy and it helps you process. So stop doing that. Second of all, what's the worst that can happen to you? She's like, you are not going to cry for 24 hours. You are going to cry for a max of 90 seconds and then it's going to be over. Wouldn't you rather cry for 90 seconds instead of carrying it on and getting anxiety and depression and being upset about it for years? So she's like, get it out of your system. And she's like, and talk about it. So one of the first things I did the next day is I went to the leaders on my team. And this is another reason that I freaking love network marketing, because in those moments of crisis, that month that I had to take for myself when I had PTSD and had to deal with it, when my grandfather passed away, who was like a father to me, this past January, I called my leaders. I said, look, I know that you didn't know that I was pregnant, but I was. I'm not anymore. I need a week to 2 weeks for myself, and I need you to take on my power hours. I need you to take on the team. I need you to answer more questions. I can't be there and present, but I need to do this for me, because if I don't, I won't be able to move forward with you, and I won't be able to be the best version of myself for you, because I'll still be in a state of fight or flight. And all of them picked up the slack. All of them stepped in, and I've done that for them, right? I've done that for them. That is the beauty of network marketing. The community that you get is unlike, wasn't my best friends that were sending flowers or showing up or calling me to make sure that I was okay. It was my team.
Yeah.
And that is something that I just feel so grateful. But they helped me through the process because I was able to share with them.
I love that.
Because I was able to say, hey, this happened to me. And guess what? Almost all of them that had kids have had a miscarriage. And they're all
Yeah.
like, oh my God, Christina, we've been there. We relate to you. You take the time. And you bet if that ever happens to anybody on my team, a friend, whatever, like now that you relate to that, you go the extra mile, you send the flowers, you call them a week later and say, how are you doing? Right?
Yeah.
You check in on them. And
Yeah.
those life experiences shape who you are as a human.
It's so true. And here's the thing, like ladies, like there may be some of you have never had this experience, which is fine, and if you know somebody in your life that has walked through this or is walking through this, that's one thing. And if you haven't, you will. And here's what I'm going to encourage you to do. Even if you've never walked in those shoes, don't shy back, because sometimes we go, I don't know what to say. I don't know what that feels like. I don't know what to say. Like, ladies, say something. Just say something. Just let them know that you're thinking about them. You're there for them. That's all they need. That's all anybody needs. And, I love everything that you're sharing, Christina. Like, I didn't get through the grieving process before. I was pregnant in 6 weeks. I was pregnant 6 weeks later, not by design, not by plan. I guess it was a plan. I guess
By
it was
God.
a plan. And so that was a journey in and of itself to be pregnant again. I literally had 2 babies. I had inside of 1 year. One was September 15th of 92 and September 5th of 1993. So 2 babies in 1 year.
Wow.
And so this process of what you're sharing is so valuable. And I love the fact that you had the wherewithal to surround yourself and open up and to take that time and opportunity. Because I think as moms and wives and women, we don't.
I know.
We don't. And so I love the fact that you're telling that. I love the fact that you're sharing that. I love the fact that you did it, not just for yourself, but for everybody in your circle.
Yep.
Such a powerful story. Such a powerful story. So what's next? Are you like, when you said,
let's go. And like I said, in my lifetime, this is just how I show up. If something goes sideways or something happens, I'm like, okay, let's deal with it. Let's move on. What's next? Right? And so that, as soon as this process was over, yes, I took days. I took naps. I don't even know the last time I took a nap, but I took naps. I healed. I watched Netflix. I just I really soothed my soul through this. And as soon as that was over, my husband looked at me and he's like, are you doing okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm ready to try again. He's like, really? And I was like, yeah. He's like, we don't have to, it's okay. And I was like, no, I'm good. Because I took the time to process, because I took time to heal, because I took the time to think of all of the things that could have happened. But you know what? It wasn't meant to be. And I truly believe this in my soul. I don't know if you've ever read The Seat of the Soul. Have you ever read that book? And so in that book, I've read it multiple times. It's one of the ones that you have to read chapter by chapter and really internalize the message, because it's something else. But with The Seat of the Soul, one of the things that really resonated with me is that these souls come down and they pick us as parents. They pick us to teach them the lessons that they need in this lifetime. They pick their genders on how they're going to experience life. They pick the lessons. And then what's interesting is they get here and they don't remember any of it. And we have to remind them along the way. So they are very intentional coming to us. And I just know that wasn't the right time or the right baby. And the right time will come, because like I said, I had a couple of miscarriages, not too far along before I had Isabella. But just from me saying, what she wants to be when she grows up, I know damn well she's supposed to be my daughter. Yeah. And I know, I know she picked me. And I know she picked Ryan. And I feel the same way about our next, and whether that comes through adoption or that comes this way, like it all works itself out. It's all part of the story that they're meant to experience here on earth.
I love that. I love that. I mean, and I think that that's for me whenever I look back and I look at my oldest and I look at, I wouldn't have her, if I, I mean, like, so, I know everything happens in the time and in the space. And whenever you can look back on it truly with gratitude.
Yes.
Right. I really believe that's whenever you have grieved and it's you're healed and you're whole, right? Whenever you can see it as, okay, a blessing, whenever you can see, okay, I get that, the hindsight and looking back to be able to go forward. And I love the fact that you've done it in such, window of time. I know that for me, and I don't know if this, they offered, so many, like they offered a grieving group or, grieving moms group.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't do that. I can't do that. I can't sit there and keep talking about it over and over and reliving it over. I mean, like, that's like staying stuck. That never connected with me. And so anyway, I know it may be healing for some people. It just wasn't the thing for me. And so I love the fact that you recognized it, you identified it, and you allowed yourself the process. And now in such a short time, in such a short window, you're willing to share this story and share this journey with other women to walk them through the process.
Yeah. And I think, don't you think like that you went through that so that you can be the support to somebody else, or that you can be the strength for somebody else? The other thing that that we don't talk about after having a miscarriage is that you also get to go through postpartum. Like, nobody tells you that, right?
Yeah.
So your emotions are all over the place. You don't have the baby. And it's funny because all of these little like nuances come through. And it was funny because I don't know why I'm saying it's funny, but I recognized that when I went into labor the first time, the nurse, I was like, this is BS. I don't like doing this. This is not good. And the nurse said, but think what you'll have on the other side. You'll have a baby. And I was like, so what? Like, at that point in time, like being in labor and like you're dying. And and I was like, so, like at that time I was like, so what? But now, isn't it interesting that was the thought I had now after having the miscarriage? I was like, that's what she meant. There's a baby there after. And now even more so, Izzy was only, when Izzy was born, she didn't breathe for her first 5.5 minutes. Like, there was trauma there, right? That's why we've waited so long, because Ryan and I had to get over that fact. But I want to tell you, like, there are other ways. Like, you don't have to suffer through the postpartum either. You talk to a doctor, you talk to a midwife. I did acupuncture. Like, I was doing acupuncture twice a week. I went to see a Chinese medicine doctor, and I was drinking herbs. I'm still drinking herbs, right? And I'm doing it because I want to show up in a way that I don't have any of the emotional, like, we all know when we're not in a good state or when we have triggers, we act irrationally. Just think about those 3 days before your period every day or every month, right? Like, think about how irrational you are. Like, those are the days that I'm like, my husband doesn't love me, or his face annoys me. I'm like, why is everything irritating in the house, right? Like, we're not our best version of ourselves, right? We're just not. And so when you have an opportunity to be able to, oh, now I lost her. When you have an opportunity to be able to take the measures for yourself and be there for you, go the extra mile. Maybe, and one of the girls on my team just had a baby, and she's going through postpartum, and it's really, really hard. But she's been working with her doctor. There, now it's you. She's been working with her doctor. Now she's on medication because she was having such an adverse reaction to breastfeeding. So, like, don't sit at home and be upset or sad or feel like you have to carry that burden on your own. Ask for help. Ask for help.
Yes. That's such great advice. And it's such relevant advice, because I think so many times women, especially ladies, like, don't shrink back. Don't shy away. If you need help, you need connection. Like, that's what this group for me is for. That's what, like, I want you to be able to connect with other women in this space, this is why we're sharing this story, because I want you, if you know somebody, if you're going through it, if you connect with Christina, connect with me. Like, this is the whole point of She Network. It's sharing stories. It's sharing the walk. It's, to your point, Christina, you are here to be a solution to someone else's problem. And you may be here in this moment to help somebody walk through the journey of whatever that maybe I can't, but Christina can. And that's what relationships truly are about at the end of the day. You know, whenever we build a business, whenever we're building relationships, whenever we're building families as parents, all the many things that we do in life, people are put in your life to help mentor you, right? You know, what is mentoring? Mentoring, like men or women touring you places through where you've already walked. That's what it is. That's what we have here. That's what these stories, these interviews, everything that we do is to say, if she can do it, I can do it. If she can get through it, I can get through it. And Christina, I know that we were going to talk some stuff about business, and we talked, you know, I think that we talked about exactly what we were supposed to talk about today. You know what I mean? And ladies, I know that you want to hear more about what she's doing and what's happening with her business and how she's building. And we will definitely have her on again without question.
I think I'm on later this week, actually.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm doing a training for you guys later this week.
Okay. So this is, I mean, this right here is that this is a conversation that needs to be had. This is a conversation that needs to be open and transparent. And so I just celebrate you today in being authentic and just being willing to share this journey with the ladies here, and in the hopes that it's going to help somebody through their walk and their journey.
Oh, Taylor, thank you for giving me the space. Thank you for giving me the space to tell the story, to show me that I am capable of telling it from a scar and not a wound, right? I am ready to tell it. I was a little bit nervous that I wouldn't be, but I appreciate you giving me the space and allowing me to connect with the women in here, because as Taylor said, oh, I'm watching vultures around my chickens. As Taylor said, you know, it's one of those things that you will know if you have not been through this yourself. You will know somebody that will go through this. And it's very hard to understand if you haven't been through it yourself. But if you know somebody that can support them, or like reach out and ask, like, what's the best thing that I can do? Send them flowers, call them, just say, hey, how's your day going? Right? It's just that connection. And that's the beautiful thing that you're creating here, Taylor. And that's why I love the She Network. So thank you so much for having me.
Well, thank you. And so I think you're training this week. Is that what we're doing? Is it this week or next week? We'll promote it. I don't know. I don't know my calendar.
It's coming.
I only know what I have today. That's all I can just
Me too.
So ladies, I hope that you tag somebody if you know, invite them in the group, share this story, share this message, share this hope, share this hand up, want to be able to help somebody through their journey and through their walk as they walk through this as moms, as wives, as women together. We're here to help each other. We're collaborating and not competing. And so I just thank each one of you for being here today. I hope you have a blessed, amazing Tuesday. And Christina, thank you so much. I'm going to say bye to you privately. That's it for us, ladies. Hope you have a blessed day. This is Taylor Thompson, She Network, and Christina Whiteley. Bye.